Hello.
Hello, sir. Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Confirm and to all of you or not.
Sir, your voice is breaking.
My voice is breaking. Just tell me if I'm audible or not now.
Yes, sir, you're audible, but it says your network bandwidth is low and we can't see the screen.
Okay. Wait a minute.
Okay.
Confirm. Am I audible now? Clearly. My voice is still breaking.
Yes, sir, it's a little bit breaking, but I can understand.
All right. There seems to have some problem with my network, and also my camera is still not working today as well. So we'll have to manage the entire session without the camera. All right, everyone. So let's start the session. In the previous class, we were talking about the treatment of the accumulated profit reserves, right? And while discussing the treatment of the accumulated profit and reserve, we have discussed that the treatment of the accumulated profit or reserve depends upon the decisions made by the partners, whether they want to show the accumulated profit and reserve in the books of account in the future as well, or whether they do not want to show it in the books of account. If they choose not to show the accumulated profit in the futures in future in the books of account, that means they are willing to distribute the accumulated profit among themselves in the old ratio. And if they are willing to show the accumulated profit in the books of account, in such a situation, we will have to do the different kind of treatment. So we have understood the entire concept relating to the accumulated profit. We have also done one or two questions based on this concept. And in the last session, okay, we have discussed question number 73. I hope this question is clear to all of you. Then also we discussed question number 74, right? So these two questions I have discussed already in the class. Now we will start our discussion with question number 75. All right, everyone. If anybody having any doubt regarding the previous class, they can ask me. Otherwise, we will move. We will start with question number 75 directly. Any doubts, Alexander, or anyone else? Please confirm.
No doubt, sir.
No doubt. Okay. So let's start with question number 75. Question 75 is saying that there are three partners. X, Y, mute yourself. I think someone's mic is on. I'm getting a lot of noise from your side. All right. So this question is saying that there are three partners, X, Y, and Z, who were sharing the profit and losses in the ratio of 5:3:2. So this was the old ratio of the partner. Old profit sharing ratio was 5:3:2. Now they have decided to change their existing profit sharing ratio, and the new profit sharing ratio will be 1:1:1. Extract of the old balance sheet is given to us. On the liability side, we have the general reserve and the profit and loss. Okay, and on the debit side, we have the advertisement suspense account of rupees 20,000. Okay, question is saying that pass the general entry without affecting their books. So first of all, since the question is saying that we need to pass the general entry without affecting the books of account of the partner, that means partners have decided to show the general reserve and the profit and the advertisement suspense account in the futures books of account as well, right? Is that clear to all of you? Everyone, please confirm if this is clear or not. If partners, if the question is telling us to pass the general entry without affecting the books of account, that means partner have decided to show the general reserve and profits in the books of account in the future as well, in the balance sheet of future as well. Got it? Is this clear to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Everyone else, please confirm.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now see, I have already explained general reserve and profit and loss in the previous class, profits in the previous class, right? Advertisement suspense account is a kind of loss. This is a kind of, you can for the time being consider it is a kind of loss. All right. So losses are shown on the asset side of the balance sheet, and profits are shown on the liability side of the balance sheet. So this is the 10,000 is the profit, 90,000 is the reserve, and 20,000 is the amount of loss by the name of advertisement suspense account. All right. Now the question arises, since question is asking us to pass the general entry without affecting the books. That means partners have decided to show all these things, the value of the general reserve, profit and loss, advertisement suspense account, in the future books of account as well. So in such a situation, what do? We pass the general entry, like the gaining partners account will be debited to the sacrificing partners capital account, right? So first of all, to solve this question, we will have to find out the gaining and sacrificing shares of the partner. We will have to find out the gaining and sacrificing shares of the partners. So in question number 75, first thing that we need to do is find out the gaining and sacrificing shares of the partners. So calculation of gaining and sacrificing shares of the partner. All right. So in order to find out the gaining and sacrificing shares of the partner, what are we going to do? We will write down the new shares of the partner, and out of the new share, we will be subtracting the old shares of the partner. This way, we will be able to find out the gaining and sacrificing shares of the partner. So first of all, gaining and sacrificing share for partner A, partner X, sorry. Partner X, there were three partners, X, Y, and Z. So X was earlier sharing the profits and losses in the ratio of 5:3:2. That means 5/10, 3/10, and 2/10. So old share was 5/10, 3/10, and 2 by 10. And they have decided to share the profit and losses in the future in the equal ratio. So that means 1 is to 1 is to 1. That is 1 is 1 by 3, 1 by 3, and 1 by 3. Okay. Subtracting the old share out of the new share, we will get, so the gaining or the sacrificing share will be, this will be 10 and 10 minus 15, that is minus 5.10. All right, and in this case it will be 10 and 10 minus 9, that is 1 upon 10 positive, and in case of Z it will be 30. Okay, so 30 and 10 minus 6, that is 4 by 30. So it means that X is only, as X is sacrificing, X will have to sacrifice, Y is gaining, right? Y is gaining, and Z is also gaining, since they are getting the positive value of share. That simply means they, Y and Z are gainings and X is sacrificing. Got it? Is this clear? Calculation of gaining and sacrificing shares are clear to all of you?
Yes, sir.
All right. Then after this, we need to, everyone please note it down quickly. Let me know when you are done. And then we will pass the general entries. Done, everyone? Shall we move to the next point?
Yes, sir, done.
Yes.
Done. All right. So now we need to pass the general entry. But before passing the general entry, we are required to find out the net amount for which the total, for which the general entries will be required. So we will do one, finding out the total adjustment. Calculation of total adjustment. Calculation of total adjustment. Pay attention and try to understand that for finding out the total adjustment, what do? We will first of all add the value of the general reserve and the amount of profit. General reserve and the amount of profit. We will add both the value, general reserve and amount of profit. See what were the value of the general reserve and amount of profit given in the question. In the question, it was general reserve was 90,000, profit was 10,000. So that means 90 plus the advertisement expenses, that is 20,000. So 90,000 plus 10,000. We are adding it because both are the part of the profit, and advertisement expense, advertisement suspense account is a loss, so we need to subtract it. Advertisement suspense account is a loss, so 20,000 we will be subtracting it. After subtracting 20,000 out of the 1 lakh, we will get 80,000. All right, so this is the total value of the adjustment. Total adjustment required, total adjustment, the value of total adjustment will be 80,000 only. Now we need to pass the general entries. Please note it down. Okay, and the general entry will be, what will be the general entry? So gaining partners capital account will be debited, right? Gaining partners account will be debited to sacrificing partners capital account, right? So just tell me which partner is gaining in this question. Only Y and Z are gaining and X is sacrificing. That means we need to debit Y and Z capital account, right? And we need to credit the sacrificing partners capital account, that is X capital account will be credited. Got it, everyone? So we'll write down
Yes, sir.
Y's capital account, sorry, by Y's capital account debit, Y's capital account debit, Z's capital account will also be debited. To X capital account. Okay, and remember they're sacrificing and gaining shares. Their share was 5 by 30, 1 by 30, and 4 by 30. All right, so that means we are going to divide 80,000 in their gaining and sacrificing ratios. So Y will be gaining 80,000 into 1 by 30, 1 by 30, and Z will be, Z share is 80,000 into 4 by 30, and X share is 80,000 into 5 by 30. So 80,000 into 1 divided by 30, it will be 666. That means we can write it 2667. All right, I have rounded it off to the, I have rounded it off. Instead of writing 266.666, I have written it as 2667, 2667. And similarly, 80,000 into 4 by 30, it will be 10667. And 80,000 into 5 by 30, this will be 133. 13,333. Tell me everyone, is this clear to all of you or not?
Yes,
Yes,
sir,
sir.
it's clear.
Yes, sir.
Clear.
Okay, so what I just did, I just debited the gaining partners capital account and credited the sacrificing partners capital account. All right. So have you guys noted it down?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right, everyone. Okay, so this was all about the treatment of the accumulated profit reserves and the losses. Now we will be talking about one more concept, which is the workman compensation. So put the next heading on your notebooks. Workman compensation. Workman compensation. Okay. So first of all, we need to understand what is the meaning of the workman compensation. So workman compensation, for the time being, you can consider it as the workman compensation is a part of the profit. Workman compensation reserve, in fact, we need to put the heading as workman compensation reserve. The workman compensation reserve is a part of profit. Okay, it is a part of profit that is created that is created to meet out any possible liability to pay the compensation to employee. Let's suppose, let me explain this by giving you a small example. Let's suppose we have made we have a profit of rupees 5 lakh. Out of this profit, we made a reserve by the name of the compensation reserve, workman compensation reserve. We made a reserve, workman compensation. We made a reserve of rupees, let's suppose 2 lakh. The purpose of this reserve is to pay compensation to employee when compensation to employees whenever any injury occur to employee on account of okay. So this is a specific reserve which is made to compensate employee in case of any injury or accident occurred during the period of employment. If any worker get injured during the employment or any accident occurs, so in order to compensate such worker, we have made a reserve of rupees 2 lakh. 2 lakh. All right. So what is compensation reserve? Workman compensation reserve is part of profit. This has been made to pay any employee who got injured or any accident occur during the performance of the obligation in the premises of the employer. So let's suppose any worker got injured, and on such employer have spent employer need to compensate such person rupees 1,50,000. So actually the reserve was made for rupees 2 lakh, but the compensation only paid for 1,50,000. So that means the remaining 50,000, which is not given to the employee as a compensation, will be divided among the partners in the old profit sharing ratio. will be divided among the partners in their profit sharing ratio. All right, everyone. So workman compensation reserve is a reserve which is created out of the firm's profit to meet the possible liability to pay the compensation to employee if it arises. There is a possibility that there is a possibility that that such liability may not arise. In such a situation, the entire amount will be divided among the partners. If such liability arises, then whatever the reserve we have made for compensating the employee on account of accident or any injury cause, then such amount will be subtracted by the amount we have given to the employee as a compensation, and the remaining amount will be divided among the partners in their profit sharing ratio. So let me give you a few more cases. Let's suppose we have made a workman compensation of rupees, workman compensation reserve, workman compensation reserve was made for rupees 5 lakhs. And first possibility could be no claim is made by the no claim is made by employee. That means no injury have taken place, no accident have taken place, and employer was not required to pay any compensation to the employee. So if there is no claim of workman compensation, then in such a case entire amount get divided among the partners in the profit sharing ratio. Entire amount get divided among the partners in their profit sharing ratio. If there is a possibility that there is a claim, then there are three possible situations whenever there is a claim regarding the compensation. So claim may be less than the amount of reserve that we have made. We have presumed that the employer will have to pay the reserves, the compensation equals to 5 lakh, but actually the claim arise equivalent to only 4 lakh. We have made a reserve of rupees 5 lakh, but claim occurred for rupees 4 lakh only. In such a situation, remaining extra 1 lakh that we have made a reserve for, this extra 1 lakh will get divided among the partner. 1 lakh will get divided among the partner. Let's suppose if claim is equal to the amount of reserve that we have made, 5 lakh of reserve, 5 lakh of claim have been made. In such a case, no amount will be distributed among the partner. And if claim is in excess of the amount of reserve that we have made, let's suppose the amount of reserve we have made is 5 lakh and the actual claim made by the employee or the compensation that company had to pay or the firm have to pay is rupees 6.5 lakhs. So in such a situation, we have a loss of rupees 1.5 lakh, and this amount needs to be contributed by all the partners in their profit sharing ratio. Got it, everyone? If there is compensation reserve, such compensation reserve can be divided among the partner. If the entire amount of compensation reserve can be divided among the partner if no claim have been made during the year. If the claim have been made, then accordingly deduction will be made and the remaining amount will be distributed among the partner. Let's suppose if the reserve is 5 lakh and the claim made for rupees 4 lakh only, then the remaining 1 lakh will be divided among the partners. If the claim is for 5 lakh, then nothing will get divided among the partner. And if the claim is for rupees is greater than the reserve that we have made, in such a situation, the additional amount will be contributed by the partners in their old profit sharing ratio. Got it, everyone? Is this clear to all of you?
Yes, sir.
All right. So, see, starting with the meaning of the compensation, workman compensation reserve. So, as I told you, workman compensation reserve is created out of the firm's profit to meet the possible liability to pay the compensation to employees. All right, the compensation is required to pay to employee on account of any kind of injury or accident that may occur to employee during the performance of his obligation in the for the employer. It means a claim may or may not arise. There is a possibility that no injury have taken place to employee. Then in such a situation, we call it a situation wherein the claim is not arise. Claim have not occurred by the employee, and if the claim is not taken place, then in such a situation, the entire amount of compensation will get divided among the partners. Now, how workman compensation will be treated, it depends upon the question. If question is not giving you any information regarding the treatment of the compensation, it is not giving you any information whether the claim have been made by the partner or not, whether the claim have been made by the employee or not. In such a situation, the entire amount of reserve get divided among the partners in the old profit sharing ratio. And similarly, if there is no claim made by made by any employee, then also the entire amount get divided among the partners in the old profit sharing ratio. And if there is claim on the workman compensation, then such claim can be equal to the amount of reserve, right? It can be equal to the amount of reserve, it can be less than the amount of reserve, or it can be more than the amount of reserve. There are three possible situations in this case, in case number C. For it, everyone, if there is compensation, then question may not be giving you any information regarding the treatment of the compensation. In such a situation, you need to distribute all amount of compensation among the partners in the profit sharing ratio. If question is stating that there is no claim made by the employees regarding the workman compensation, then in such a situation also we need to divide the entire amount of compensation reserve among the partners in the profit sharing ratio. And if there is claim, then such claim can be equal to the reserve, can be less than the reserve, or it can also be more than the reserve. Now, how are we going to deal with a situation when there is no information given in the question? So we need to pass this journal entry. If there is no information given in the question regarding the treatment of the workman compensation, then in such a situation, one journal entry is passed. Journal entry will be workman compensation account will be debited to the partner's capital account. That means the entire amount of workman compensation is being credited to the partner's capital account. That means all the partners will get the share in the workman compensation reserve depending upon their profit sharing ratio. And the same treatment will be done if there is no claim made by the employee on account of workman compensation. If there is no claim, then in such a case situation also we will be doing the same general entry, workman compensation account debit to partners capital account. All right. And in the last case, when there is a claim on workman compensation, then such claim could be less than the reserve that we have made, it could be equal to the amount of reserve that we have made, or it can be more than the amount of reserve that we have made. If the claim is less than the reserve, then the following general entry will be passed: workman compensation account debit to workman compensation account to partners capital account. Just a minute. This will be workman compensation reserve account debit. This will be workman compensation account reserve, workman compensation reserve account debit to workman compensation to partners capital. Okay. Then if the claim is equal to the reserve, then this entry will be done: workman compensation account debit to workman compensation account, and again workman compensation reserve account debit. Anyways, let me write all the general entry for you. Treatment of workman compensation. first situation can be if there is no information in the question regarding the workman compensation claim. If there is no information, this means that amount of workman compensation is given to you in the question, but there is no information regarding the claim made by employee on account of workman compensation. Please write it down, everyone. So in this situation, the general entry will be, when there is no information given to you in the question, the general entry will be workman compensation reserve account debit to partners capital account. The workman compensation reserve distributed among partners in the old profit sharing ratio. Okay, situation number 2. If question may tell you that there is no claim made by the employee. If there is no claim, see, if there is no information, that is a different thing. If there is no claim, that is a different case. So both are different situation. If there is no claim, even though these are the different situation, the treatment will be same. If there is no claim regarding the workman compensation, then same general entry will be done. Same general entry as above. As above. Okay. After this, if claim is made, if there is a claim regarding the workman compensation. Now, this situation contains 3 more possible situations. First could be, if claim is being made, such claim could be equal to, such claim may be equal to the amount of workman compensation reserve, WCR. Then the general entry in this situation will be, first of all, we will debit the workman compensation account. Workman compensation account will be debited. Workman compensation account will be debited. Workman compensation reserve account, sorry. Workman compensation reserve account will be debited to workman compensation. Workman compensation. And narration will be being workman compensation reserve claimed by employee. All right, this is first situation in case 3. Second scenario could be wherein such claim is less than the amount of workman compensation reserve. Such claim is less than the workman compensation reserve. Then in this situation, the general entry will be, if the claim is less than the reserve, that means we have a profit, we have a situation of profit, and since the claim is less than the amount of reserve, then the remaining amount can be distributed among the partners in the old profit sharing ratio. So as usual, we will start with debiting the partners compensation reserve account, workmen compensation reserve account debit to compensation to workmen compensation and the remaining amount will be divided among the partners in the old profit sharing ratio. So to partners capital account. You guys are writing this down now, everyone? All these general
Yes,
entry,
sir.
please
Yes, sir.
note this down. And the
Yes.
last and the ration will be being workman compensation reserve claimed and distributed among the partners. And if the amount of claim is more than the reserve that we have made, in that case, if such claim is more than workman compensation reserve, then general entry is a little different. But before giving you the general entry for this situation, let me explain all this by example. Let's suppose the workman compensation reserve is for rupees 5 lakh. All right. And in this situation 1, there is no information given in the question. That means this entire amount can be divided among the partners in the profit sharing ratio. So that means workman compensation reserve account will be debited by 5 lakh and the partners capital account will also get credited by 5 lakh based on their old profit sharing ratio. In situation number 2, what is happening? Workman compensation reserve, we have prepared a workman compensation reserve of rupees 5 lakh, but the actual compensation claim, actual claim regarding the compensation is 0. Nothing is claimed. So in such a situation also, entire amount get divided among the partners in the profit sharing ratio, old profit sharing ratio. That means we need to do the same general entry as we did in the above situation. And in the third case, if the claim is being made, then such claim may be equal to the amount of reserve that we have made. That means if the workman compensation reserve is for rupees 5 lakh and the actual claim made by employee is also equalizing the value of the reserve, that means 5 lakh. So in such a situation, the general entry will be workman compensation reserve account debit to workman compensation. That means 5 lakh will be debited to the workman compensation reserve and 5 lakh will be credited to the workman compensation account. Got it, everyone? And in the third situation, in the second situation, such claim, if such claim is less than the reserve, suppose we have made a workman compensation reserve of rupees 5 lakh, all right, and the claim that was actually made is for rupees only 3 lakh. Okay, so the general entry will be, first of all, we will debit the workman compensation amount by the entire amount 5 lakh, but actually the compensation claimed by the partners for rupees only 3 lakh. Huh? So 3 lakh will be credited to the partners, workman compensation account, and the remaining amount of rupees 2 lakh will get divided among the partners in their profit sharing ratio. This is how the general entry will be done. And finally, in the third case is a little different. Let's suppose workman compensation reserve is of rupees 20 lakhs. Sorry, not 20 lakhs, 5 lakhs. But actual claim made by the employee on account of workman compensation is of rupees 7 lakh. So here the claim is exceeding the amount of reserve that we have made. We have presumed that the that compensation that we will have to pay to the employee on account of any kind of accident or injury may be up to rupees 5 lakh, but actually the amount of claim is exceeding rupees 5 lakh. Amount of claim is actually 7 lakh. That means in such a scenario, we will have to pay 2 lakh extra, and such extra amount need to be contributed by the existing partner in their old profit sharing ratio. All right, so in such a situation, the general entry will be, it will be like this: workman compensation account will be debited, workman compensation account, workman compensation reserve account, first of all, it will get debited obviously by 5 lakh, right? And the claim is actually for rupees, the compensation that we need to pay to employee is 7 lakh, right? So the compensation, the workman compensation account will credited by 7 lakh. Got it, everyone? The question arises from where the remaining amount will be given to the employee. How are we going to deal with the loss that has occurred, right? So there is a reserve that we have made is of for rupees 5 lakh, but the amount of claim that employee have made is 7 lakh. That means we have a situation of loss here. Extra 2 lakh need to be contributed. So such amount will be debited by the name of revaluation account. Keep that in mind. Revaluation account will be debited. Revaluation is just like the profit and loss account. Revaluation is a profit and loss account in case of the partnership. Revaluation account will be debited by the 2 lakh. All right, everyone. And since revaluation account is getting debited, that means it is a loss. We have a loss of rupees 2 lakh. So this loss will need to be further compensated by the existing partners in their old profit sharing ratio. And the general entry for that will be, after passing this general entry, we will have to do one more entry, which is partners capital account will be debited. Partners capital, because there is a loss now, so every partner need to contribute towards such loss. So partners capital account will be debited to revaluation account. Partners capital account will be debited to revaluation account. That means 2 lakh have to be borne by each partner in their profit sharing ratio, and then revaluation account will be credited to. So in the last case, in the third situation, we have to make this extra general entry. I hope this is clear to all of you. Tell me, everyone, is this clear or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So have you guys noted this down? Everyone done with the journal entries?
Yes, sir. Done.
Okay. So we'll do 1 or 2 questions quickly, and then we will end this session. So starting with an easy question. Let's start with question number 76. See, question 76 is saying that there are 3 partners, A, B, and C, who are presently sharing the profits and losses in the ratio of 5:3:2. Now they have decided to change the future profits and losses. Now they have decided to change the existing profit sharing ratio to 2:3:5. So we need to give the journal entry to distribute the workman compensation among the partners. The existing workman compensation is 1,20,000, and question is telling us that the first part of the question is saying that there is no information given in the question. So regarding claim, there is no information given in the question, right? So that means the entire amount will be divided among the partners in the old profit sharing ratio. And in the second situation, the second part of the question is saying that there is no claim against it. So whether there is no information given in the question or whether there is no claim made by the partners, made by the employees, in both this situation, we need to do the same kind of entry, same transaction. Got it, everyone? So let me show you how this will be done. Solution to question number 76. So the journal entry that we will be required to pass in this question will be workman compensation reserve account debited to compensation or sorry the to the partners capital account, right? So how many partners are there? There are three partners, na? A, B, and C. So we need to credit all the partners capital account. A's capital account and to B's capital account, then to C's capital account. All right. So the amount of workman compensation was 1,20,000, right? Entire amount will be divided among the partners. So 1,20,000. We need to divide it among the partners in their old profit sharing ratio. Old profit sharing ratio was 5:3:2. So that means 1,20,000 into 5/10 for A, and for B it will be 1,20,000 into 3/10, and then C 1,20,000 into 2/10. So it will be 70,000, then 36,000 and 24,000. We'll also write down the narration being workman compensation reserve distributed among the partners, distributed in old PSR, old profit sharing ratio. And same general entry will be done for both the cases, for the first part and the second part. So I'm not going to do the same general entry again. I've just written it one, and for the first case and the second case we have to do the same general entry. So I just did it once. Got it, everyone? Is this clear to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Please note this down and let me know. Please note this down, everyone. Let me know when you are done. Done, everyone?
Done, sir.
Done, okay. And okay, let's quickly solve one more question. Question number 76 it was. Now let's talk about question number 77. So question 77 is saying that X, Y, and Z, who are presently sharing profit and losses in the ratio of 5:3:2, decided to share the profits in the profits and losses in the ratio of 2:3:5. Gives the journal entry to distribute workman compensation reserve of rupees 1,20,000 at the time of change in the profit sharing ratio when there is a claim of rupees 80,000 against it. So the actual amount of reserve that we have made is 1,20,000. Out of the 1,20,000 of reserve, the claim is of rupees 1 lakh for rupees 80,000 only. So that means this is a situation of profit. Since the reserve was made for 1,20,000, but the claim is being made for the 80,000 only, then there is a surplus 40,000 that will be divided among the partners in the profit sharing ratio. All right. So let me also solve this question. I'll be giving you one more question for your homework. Let me solve this question quickly. So in question number 77. So the first thing, general entry will be workman compensation reserve account will be debited, right, to tell me, to the workman compensation claim that was actually made. So the workman compensation reserve that we have made was 80,000, 1,20,000. Out of this, claim was made for only 80,000. That means the remaining amount shall be divided among the partners in the old profit sharing ratio. So the remaining amount of rupees 40,000 will get divided among X, Y, and Z to X capital account, to Y's capital account, and Z's capital account. Z's capital account. So the remaining 40,000 get divided among the partners in the old profit sharing ratio. So 40,000. The profit sharing ratio for X was 5:3:2 was the old ratio, na? So X will be getting 5/10, right? So that means he's going to get 20,000, and similarly Y share will be 3/10, right, everyone? So it will be 12,000, and for C it will Z it will be 8,000. All right, everyone, is this clear to all of you or not? We'll also write down the narration. The workman compensation reserve distributed. Workman compensation reserve distributed and claim made. Done. Is it clear to all of you? Alexander and everyone else, please confirm if this is clear or not.
Yes, sir. Clear.
Heba, Khushi, Aya,
Yes, sir.
Clear,
It's
sir.
please confirm.
Clear, sir.
Clear. Okay. All right, everyone. So I'm giving you one question for your homework as well, which will be similar to this question, but okay, just read it once. Question number 78 is saying Ashok, Bheem, and Chetan, who are sharing profits in the ratio of 5:3:2, decided to share the profit in the ratio of 2:3:5 with effect from 1st of April 2019. Workman compensation was 1,20,000, right? But the compensation claim is for rupees 1,50,000. So I've already told you how to deal with such a situation. Whenever the claim is more than the amount of reserve, then first of all, the entire compensation reserve get divided entire amount of reserve will be debited, will be credited to the workman compensation, and the amount which is laking will be contributed by the old partners in the old profit sharing ratio. So I'm giving you this question for your homework. I hope you will be able to solve it. Take the screenshot of this. Done, everyone? So this is it for today's class. We'll be talking more about the workman compensation, and in the next class we will also talk about the investment fluctuation reserve, which is a similar topic to the workman compensation. So make sure that you revise everything before attending the next class. Only then you will be able to understand the investment fluctuation reserve also. So this is it for today's session. All of you can now sign out. I'll continue with the other student, Alexander, and everyone else. May leave.
Okay,
Thank you,
sir.
sir.
Thank you, sir. Bye
Okay, sir.
bye.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.